This is Robin Stewart, and welcome to A Jazz Life. Jazz lets each instrument be heard, and on our show, the jazz players speak. Today begins our first in series coming to you from Europe. We're at the home in Wimbledon, that's London, of Gregg Kofi Brown. Gregg is probably best known as the lead singer with the seminal world music group Osibisa. But in his career, he has performed jazz, rock, pop, soul, American, African, English, musical theater. Gregg has done it all. And here we are. Welcome, Gregg, multifaceted Kofi Brown.
Wow, man. What can I say? It's a pleasure to be on your show, Robin. Thank you for having me. Listening to you, and I think about, I actually have done all those things, and I don't know why I'm not locked up in an insane asylum, because it's just too much when I think about it. It's been quite a lot to take on board. I had a lot of, training. I've had a lot of support and mentoring from some very, very brilliant artists, musicians, writers, actors, blah, 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 But when I think of the things that I've done, it's a wonder why, how I kept my sanity, because it's all just been totally mad. One day making an album with one of the top dance producers like Stock and Aiken, with Simon Cowell's office, or the next day singing to Kim Wilde, in Tommy, working for Pete Townsend. So it's crazy. And then the next day I'm maybe at an African festival, performing. So life has been a bit nuts, and the journey has been very rich culturally and very rewarding. Rewarding in some cases, but definitely it's been a brilliant journey, and I've taken so much, and I've been given so much, and I try to give back something,
And you do.
Yeah.
And you do.
As we were talking about earlier, touring with Santana this past summer, was just absolutely amazing. We opened up for a couple of his dates, and it was quite an experience, we've done a lot of festivals with a lot of sort of big bands, but I think Santana was the best for me, because he was a favorite of mine when I was a young kid. So to be playing with the master, was great. He was checking our set out, and apparently he loves my enthusiasm, I hope he likes my playing a little bit too, But I must say that I'm working on a new album, and the influences from Santana and all the influences from my journey will be represented on the album. My new material is definitely homing in on the combination of Latin and African and good old-fashioned pop melodies, because I like pop. I don't care what anybody says, and I've got a reputation for writing jazz songs, and working with Billy Cobham and Stanley Jordan and all these guys. But really, the first big hit I had in my career was a dance track. It sounded like Madonna. It was called Baby Talk, and it was done by a girl named Alicia. And that was back in the mid-'80s, and it was a huge hit, It
was a huge hit.
Yeah, the original song that I recorded of Baby Talk was produced by Isaac Hayes, and I had some of the guys from Osibisa playing on it. So it was more dark and even a little bit jazzy, But when the producer in New York got it by way of Paul and the McCartney.
Okay, now wait. Tell me how that happened.
Well, I was walking down the street on my way to a writing session at Sony Publishing, and I always used to carry at least a half a dozen of my singles, Baby Talk, which I did with Isaac Hayes. And I saw Paul and Linda McCartney signing autographs. So I pulled Linda aside, used my charm on the lady. Said, here, take this, have a listen. So they apparently took it up and left it in the record pile at Air Studios. And this New York producer saw my picture. So, he's either really good or he's the biggest joke in town, But anyway, he saw my picture, played the song, took it back to New York, and cut it on a 17-year-old girl named Alicia. And next thing I know, people are calling me from New York. It's like, Gregg, they're playing your song. These are musicians that I work with and that know my material. So,
is that how you found out?
Yeah, that's how I found out. I mean, the publisher that I did the deal with, he didn't tell me. I think he was trying to pull a fast one on me.
Okay.
But I got Universal involved, and we got the publishing back. But I went out and visited her. I met the producer, and the young lady said, well, next week it's going to be #1 in the dance charts.
Wow.
And I just went, yes. So it took me coming to England, keeping my head down, working my butt off for 5 years, and then I get a hit in America,
You can never tell.
It's happened to a lot of people like that. It happened to Hendrix. It happened, you go to America and have big hits, and they're rarely known here.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's been quite a journey, and I really think that with all the turmoils that music is going through at the moment, with the decline of sales of CDs and what have you, I think people are still interested in real musicians and real music.
Absolutely.
I mean, so much is done on computers now, and I mean, I use computers, but I use computers mainly as a tool for actually playing, and singing.
For recording.
For recording.
Right.
Yeah, for recording. Sometimes when I'm writing a song, I might take a sample, and sample something. But all my songs are based on chords and melodies, I teach music theory. So I kind of know a little bit of what I'm doing, Doesn't mean it's going to be a hit, but I've had one hit, and hopefully I'll have another one soon.
I think you will. I've got a feeling you will.
I have to say that I'm feeling really good about the material that I'm writing at the moment, and all these different influences like Latin, African, and pop melodies. I love what's happening in music, and even like I said, even though the business is going through a bit of a shakeup, I think at the end of the day, the music will win out because people love music.
People need music.
Yeah, they need music. Yeah, So, with that said, I'm plowing upwards and onwards, and you'll hear more of me in the next album. I'll be playing bass and guitar, and singing, and writing most of the material. And I can't wait to get out there and perform it.
That's right. That's right, staying inspired.
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I'm a performer. I love the audience. And sometimes the audience loves me back.
I've never heard of a time they didn't.
Yeah. So, thank you for having me. I mean, I maybe I can play one or two songs that I'm working on that are pretty
in the works right now.
It might be one song. I've got one
you.
song that is, it's got a guy vocal on it, but it's mixed really well. So I might play that for you. It's
fantastic. Thank you.
It kind of demonstrates a mixture of African and Latin music.
Wonderful, wonderful. I can't wait to hear it, but I also have to say this is going to be a really short interview, but it only goes to show that we need to have you back to do a full-length show because we need to know more about you. How did you come to be over here?
Yeah.
How did you make that transition? And you've done so much.
So I've had a pretty diverse career. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to our next chat.
Thank you so much, Gregg Kofi Brown.
suffer. It's gonna be alright. From the darkness comes the light.
Wait a minute.
Whisper in the wind. Somebody. Whisper in the wind. Somebody. Te quieres mi corazón. Yo tengo vale. Te quieres mi corazón. Yo tengo vale. Don't you suffer. It's gonna be alright.
One time.
From the darkness comes the light.